Basically, the main character's sister crashes a Bugatti and gets hit with a massive 130 million yuan bill.
Turns out the owner is Miss Pei, the most untouchable heiress in town, so our guy has to bite the bullet to ask for an installment plan.
He asks to pay in chunks. She just stares at him for 10 silent seconds. With a smirk, she tells him he can pay it off by becoming her fake boyfriend to ward off unwanted guys. Talk about a plot twist. She clears his massive debt, solves all his problems, and even transfers him into his dream music department. Honestly, she is built different. His only job is to pretend he is totally in love with her. Fast forward to the day of Pei Yanran's big national violin competition.
He is in the audience when she wins gold, but she doesn't celebrate with her coach. She runs backstage, slips into a gorgeous white wedding dress, and pushes through the crowd straight into his arms.
She pulls out couple rings and asks if he will marry her. This is wild.
The entire crowd goes wild, and get this, those rings are worth 410 million yuan.
But that exact same night, her powerful mother sends her security team to ruin everything. They force her onto a direct flight to the United Kingdom while our main character watches helplessly through the airport glass, completely heartbroken. Staring back at him with tears in her eyes, she mouths her final words to him. Wait for me to come back. 5 years later, London streets. An elegant woman stands in front of a giant screen. Plastered all over that screen are photos of our boy. In 5 years, he went from a heavily broke nobody to a world-renowned musical genius standing at the center of the international stage. A passing tourist leans over and asks her, "Is that guy your idol?" But the woman does not even flinch. She just says with absolute certainty, "My husband." Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, his assistant, Tang Q, runs in screaming, "Brother Chen, we got another private gig!" He is jumping around like a 200-pound kid, leaving our guy completely amused at how hyped he is over a basic private gig. Like, is it really that deep? But then Tang Qiu leans in with this super mysterious look on his face. Whispering, he challenges our guy to guess the insane budget the client is offering. Now, his usual rate for a private show is about 500,000 yuan, but seeing how hyped his assistant is, he guesses 800,000. Tang Qiu shakes his head. Way higher. He tells him to guess way higher. Like, bro, 800,000 is already a lot. So our boy throws out 1 million yuan, but Tang Qiu just pouts his lips again. Still higher. Way higher. This is getting ridiculous. Our guy gets super suspicious, wondering if this is some high-paying scam to kidnap him and harvest his organs. Yeah, he is definitely not trying to lose a kidney today, so he is about to pass on this deal. Keeping his life is the priority, which totally cracks Tang Qiu up. Patting his chest, his assistant assures him he is overthinking things. The show is literally right here in the capital city, so there is no chance of him getting kidnapped. Rumor has it the client is a wealthy heiress who just returned from the United Kingdom, which instantly piques his curiosity. They are keeping it extremely mysterious. We only know her surname is Pei. Hearing that name makes his heart skip a beat, as if a long-lost memory is suddenly trying to break free. On top of that, she specifically requested a song called Old Dream. Our guy deep frowns because that title sounds incredibly familiar, yet he just cannot place where he heard it before. No matter how hard he tries, the memory slips right through his fingers. It is like those 5-year-old memories are completely locked away in the deepest part of his mind. But then Tang Qiu drops the actual offer, 5.2 million yuan. Bro, those numbers literally translate to "I love you" in Chinese internet slang. Talk about a massive romantic gesture.
Tang Qiu jokingly asks if this mystery woman is secretly in love with him. Who could actually be this devoted?
Who is crushing on Chen like this? He just rolls his eyes. Telling his assistant he is overthinking things, they head out. The location for the exclusive private show is at the hyper-exclusive Moran Mansion, and the client even sends a luxury Rolls-Royce Phantom to pick him up. Tang Qiu's eyes are literally popping out. Man, the rich heiress aesthetic is next level. Seriously, would it kill the universe to let me be filthy rich too? Jiang Chen just laughs it off and promises her a raise this month. She freezes on the spot and immediately praises her boss for being built different. Their Rolls-Royce Phantom glides smoothly right into the prestigious Molan Mansion. It pulls up to this insane luxury estate that literally stretches past the horizon. Everything is so ridiculously lavish, it just screams pure, unfiltered wealth. At this point, even Jiang Chen is secretly losing his mind, wondering who this heiress actually is. To be living like this? Suddenly, the head butler greets them. The servants are all lined up, waiting respectfully to welcome him. Jiang Chen's hands get a bit sweaty as a weird feeling creeps up on him. Once inside, the butler escorts him straight to a massive dressing room. The staff hands over a garment, and he looks up to inspect it. It is a stunning, traditional Chinese robe. They tell him to change first. A stylist will be right in to do his hair. He politely thanks them. He slips into the outfit, and it fits perfectly, like it was custom-made. Absolutely tailor-made. Once he is dressed, the styling team gets to work. They spend about 20 minutes styling his hair to complete the look. With everything ready, the butler leads our boy straight to the stage. Peering into the crowd, he spots a woman with a stunning figure sitting alone. But the lighting is way too dim to make out her face. Still, her intense gaze feels heavy, burning a hole right through him. Before he can analyze it, she raises her hand, signaling him to start playing. Locking in, he shuts out all distractions and pours his soul into the music. As the final notes fade, he takes a respectful bow. But as he steps off, a servant stops him. The lady wants dinner. He glances back, but the room is still shrouded in deep shadows. Walking against the harsh stage lights, her face is still hidden. But as he gets closer, her face finally comes into sharp focus. It is a gorgeous, smiling face framed by an effortlessly sexy long gown. Her effortless charm is absolutely insane. She just locks her eyes onto him. With a sly smile, she whispers, "Long time no see, Chen." The sound sends a shock through him. Suddenly, he clutches his chest. His heart clenches in absolute agony, leaving him gasping for air. Panicking, she quickly stands up and throws herself right into his arms. Jiang Chen gasps, completely frozen solid by the sudden touch. She wraps her arms tightly around him, her voice dripping with pure tenderness. "I am finally back," she whispers, "and I am never leaving you again." He looks down at this gorgeous face, feeling absolutely nothing but sheer confusion. His mind goes completely blank as he gently tries to push her away. She looks up with a playful smile, but freezes when she spots his bare ring finger. Her eyes widen in shock, while he just frowns in confusion. Bro, talk about a plot twist. He asks if they've met before, freezing her smile instantly. She stares at him, her voice trembling with raw emotion. "Did you actually forget me?" she whispers in disbelief. He tries desperately to remember. Our boy Jiang Chen feels like his brain is completely locked, so he just shakes his head and apologizes. He tells her she feels incredibly familiar, but he literally cannot remember a single thing. The tension instantly skyrockets. She looks completely devastated. He quickly looks away, not daring to meet her eyes. To break this insanely awkward and heavy vibe, he gently backs away and calls her Miss Pei. He asks if she needs anything else, otherwise he should get going. She hesitates for a second before giving a cold, quiet nod of approval. He turns to leave, but her heavy, emotional gaze is practically glued to his back. The sheer sadness radiating off her is so intense that his steps completely falter. He mutters a quick apology and runs to the changing room to swap back into his own clothes. His chest is still pounding when his hyper-assistant Tang Q rushes over with big news. The assistant asks if he actually knows the rich heiress, making our boy freeze up. Staring at his own confused face in the mirror, he shrugs and says it is possible. Tang Chu's eyes light up as he rants about how gorgeous she is. He hypes her up as a total goddess with a perfect face and insane body. Leaning in, he whispers that our guy absolutely needs to make a move. Honestly, I love how the assistant is the ultimate wingman, but Jiang Chen just frowns. He shuts him down, telling him to stop being disrespectful and gossiping about clients. But the assistant insists he has never seen anyone that gorgeous before. Then he teases him for blushing, asking how he expects to ever date anyone. He just shakes his head, totally done with the nonsense. He claims romance is not on his radar right now, just as a servant brings tea. They thank him for his hard work, and he politely takes a warm sip.
Before he can even relax, the servant drops another update.
They mention Miss Pei is sending a car for them, but he quickly says there is no need to trouble her. He explains his family is coming, but then a cold voice suddenly cuts in.
The voice says if his family is on the way, they will cancel the car. He turns around and sees Pei Yanran walking straight into the room.
She asks when they will arrive so she can personally walk him out.
He checks his phone, and right on cue, a text from his mom pops up. She is waiting right outside the Mullen villa. He tells her his ride is here, and she immediately says, "Let's go."
He tries to refuse, but seeing her look so down, he just cannot bring himself to say no.
He thanks her for the trouble, and they walk out of the Mulan villa together.
Right outside, a sleek Maybach is waiting, and his mother, Song Hui-lan, is standing by it.
She spots him. He quickly walks over. She hands him a gorgeous bouquet of flowers, and he smiles, thanking her.
The assistant greets her, but then the mom's gaze shifts over to Pei Yanran.
Wait, massive plot twist? His mother's warm smile completely freezes up. She greets her formally, but Pei Yanran's eyes immediately start watering. Fighting back her emotions, she barely manages a stiff nod to his mother.
In a shaky, quiet voice, she says she has to go.
She turns and walks straight off. Tears instantly start falling.
Back inside the bedroom, she collapses onto a sofa, completely broken.
She just sits there in total silence until the first light of dawn.
The sunlight filters through the curtains, shining on her graying hair as grief and rage consume her. Pei Yanran's hair has actually turned snow white overnight when a sudden phone ring shatters the dead silence. With her eyelashes trembling slightly, she hesitates before finally picking up the phone.
Her close friend Ji Qinghuan's voice comes through, but Pei Yanran answers her with a deeply dejected tone. Ji Qinghuan asks what is wrong, wondering why she sounds so heartbroken after their long-awaited reunion. Pei Yanran sighs deeply, and hearing about Jiang Chen's situation, Ji Qinghuan gasps in shock. Flashback to Wednesday night, where our main guy Jiang Chen is standing at the center of the charity gala stage.
He's playing the bamboo flute, and as the final beautiful note fades out, the crowd erupts into thunderous applause while he heads back to the dressing room. Suddenly, a gentle and elegant girl named Xu Jingyun walks right up to him, holding a massive, gorgeous bouquet of fresh flowers. She congratulates him on the successful show, and he smiles warmly while accepting the bouquet. But right then, a freezing, hostile glare pierces right through him from across the room. He looks over and realizes it's none other than Pei Yanran herself. She's literally radiating a suffocating, toxic aura that completely changes the vibe of the room. She walks straight up to him and coldly spits out 3 words. "Hello, Mr. Zhang."
He politely greets her as Miss Pei right away, but her freezing stare sweeps over him like a literal laser beam.
Her cold eyes immediately lock onto Xu Jingyun's face as she demands to know exactly who this girl is to him. Jiang Chen is completely lost, but explains she is just a friend, which makes Pei Yanran scoff coldly. Her lips curve into a mocking, smug smile as she turns her focus elsewhere. She slowly shifts her intense gaze down to the beautiful bouquet Xu Jingyun just gave him. She asks in an annoyed tone if she's actually his girlfriend, prompting him to quickly deny it.
After he quickly insists they are only friends, Pei Yanran chuckles carelessly and turns her head to face Xu Jingyun.
"Oh, so just a friend," she says, adding that the flowers look incredibly beautiful.
She asks if she can take a look at them, and he simply nods. But the exact moment he hands the bouquet over and lets go,
out of nowhere, she completely releases her grip too, letting those gorgeous fresh flowers slam heavily onto the dirty floor. They hit the ground with a dull thud, and she fake gasps, acting surprised. She claims she didn't mean to do it, but her face shows zero actual regret.
Honestly, the sheer audacity of this girl is crazy. She literally steps right on the pedals.
Jiang Chen has a million questions in his head as she bends down to pick them up. In one smooth, effortless motion, she tosses the ruined flowers straight into the trash can. Without a single shred of hesitation, she turns back to look at him.
Her face is covered in a totally fake expression of sincere apology once again. She tells him that she is truly sorry and did not mean it, before casually adding another promise.
Promising to buy him a new one later, she leaves Jiang Chen completely speechless.
There's absolutely no way this was an accident, except for her lying mouth.
Everything about her screams petty revenge, and he's never seen someone act so shamelessly.
She innocently asks him why he is being so quiet, looking completely blameless. He's actually laughing at how ridiculous this is as she asks if he blames her. Replying coldly that it is fine, he turns around to apologize to a completely shocked Shu Jingyun. Just as he is about to speak, Pei Yanran cuts in. Pei Yanran coldly sneers that she is sure Miss Shu is not the type of petty person to make a fuss. She looks at Shu Dingyun with a smug, challenging smirk on her face. The absolute disrespect in her eyes leaves poor Shu Jingyun completely frozen in shock. But he forces a smile, claiming it was just a cheap bouquet. He promises to buy Jiang Chen a better bouquet next time, making Pei Yanran scoff sarcastically. She mocks him for giving trash to his idol while keeping the good stuff for himself. Shu Jinyun's face instantly turns completely red out of sheer embarrassment as he tries to explain. But right then, Tang Chu rushes over, telling Jiang Chen he needs to change his clothes immediately. The gala is starting, so Tang Chu literally drags our main character away from the drama. Jiang Chen looks back and sees Pei Yanran getting ready to follow them out too. Before leaving, she throws one last incredibly smug, provocative look right at Shu Jingyun. Shu Jingyun's eyes go ice cold as he purses his lips in pure, silent rage. Once the charity gala finally wraps up, Jiang Chen slides into his car. His fingers still feel the bamboo flute, but he cannot stop thinking about those ruined flowers. He pulls at his tie in frustration while Tang Chu keeps sneaking glances from the passenger seat. Rubbing his temples, Jiang Chen finally tells his assistant to just spit it out. Leaning in with a grin, Tang Chu admits that today was an absolute eye-opener. He says Pei Yanran's acting was legendary, stepping on those pedals like she was on a runway. Seriously, there were so many people backstage and not a single soul dared to say anything. Jiang Chen shoots him a look, asking if he actually admires her now. Tang Chu denies it, but points out that Pei Yanran looks at Jiang Chen very differently. He says it is extremely suspicious, and honestly, Jiang Chen has felt the same way. Ever since meeting Pei Yanran, he has had this bizarre, lingering sense of familiarity. He is certain they have never met, so why does she seem to know him so well? By the time they get back to the apartment, it is already the middle of the night. Just as Jiang Chen heads for the shower, Tang Chu's phone starts vibrating like crazy. He answers it, and his face instantly drains of all color in a matter of seconds. After hanging up, he looks completely devastated, as if his soul just left his body. He stammers that they are ruined, making Jiang Chen's heart instantly sink. Every single one of their commercial performance bookings for the next 6 months has been canceled. The Beijing Grand Theater year-end show, the Shanghai Philharmonic concert, everything is gone. Even the Shenzhen International Music Festival and the Macau New Year show were crossed off. Tang Chu reads off the entire list in one breath, leaving Jiang Chen completely speechless. These gigs took him 5 long years of grinding and struggling to finally secure. He went from playing in tiny European pubs to the prestigious Royal Albert Hall. From being dismissed as just some foreign kid to having top international critics praise his talent. Every single concert was his lifeblood, so he demands to know the reason. Trying to stay calm, he asks, but Tang Chu says they claimed scheduling conflicts. Tang Chu tearfully adds they are paying double the termination fee, which makes Jiang Chen scoff. Canceling everything on the exact same day means someone is definitely pulling the strings here. Tang Chu nervously looks up and asks if Shu Jingyun could be behind this sabotage. But Jiang Chen knows Shu Jingyun does not have that kind of massive influence. There is no way he could ruin so many top-tier performances in a single night. As he realizes who actually possesses that kind of power, his mind goes totally blank. That gorgeous, dangerous face of Pei Yanran flashes in his mind. The next morning at 8. The apartment doorbell suddenly rings, and a very cautious Tang Chu runs to get it. He returns looking shook, stammering that someone is waiting outside for Jiang Chen. The visitor claims to be Ji Qinghuan, the best friend of none other than Pei Yanran. Jiang Chen gets that annoying, weirdly familiar yet totally distant feeling again. He fixes his clothes and heads out. Sitting right there on his living room sofa is a woman wearing a beige trench coat. The moment she sees him, she stands up and politely extends her hand, calling him Mr. Jiang. He shakes her hand with a polite but cold distance, apologizing to Ms. Ji for the wait.
When he asks what she wants, she gets straight to the point. She says she is just here to ask one thing for Yanran. Does he really remember nothing?
He stays silent, but Ji Qinghwan stares right into his eyes and brings up what he said 5 years ago.
She asks if he still remembers. He shakes his head, making her give a bitter laugh. Her tired smile says it all as she quotes his past words to her.
Back then, he begged her to stop Yanran's mother if she ever tried to take her away.
He had sworn he would only ever marry Yanran, and that memory hits his brain like a key. It tries to unlock his mind, but his forgotten memories remain completely jammed shut.
Pressing his temples as cold sweat breaks out, he can only apologize.
He truly cannot remember, so Ji Qinghwan sighs and pulls a document out of her briefcase. She hands it over, explaining it is an exclusive buyout contract from Pei's Entertainment. They are buying out all his commercial performances and local gigs starting today for the next 3 years. Basically, Pei's Entertainment is completely locking down his schedule for the next 3 years. This means that within the entire country, all of his top-tier commercial shows are completely monopolized by Pei Yanran, and he can barely ask this through his gritted teeth. This is actually crazy. What is she even trying to do here? Ji Qinghwan tells him to ask Yanran himself, but Jiang Chen warns her there must be a limit.
She chuckles and asks if he is seriously talking about limits with Yanran.
He insists he only has a standard business relationship with Miss Pei. Ji Qinghwan snaps back that he can forget her, but he must know how she was forced onto that plane 5 years ago. His chest tightens. What does she mean by that? Instead of answering, Ji Qinghwan just pulls a yellowed photo from her pocket. She places it on the coffee table for him to see, and he slowly picks it up. The old photo is worn, with the corners already starting to curl up. It shows 2 people, Pei Yanran in a wedding dress, and Jiang Chen in a suit, both looking at each other with pure, intense love. His hands shake violently as he stares at it, his temples throbbing with pain. It feels like a buried memory is clawing to get out, a girl standing on a stage. She is holding a violin, and then she is running toward him with a bright smile. She throws herself into his arms, eyes red, asking if he will marry her. Then the vision shatters. He stumbles back, barely catching himself on the table. Ji Qinghwan panics and reaches out to help, but he tells her he's fine. She asks if he remembered something, but he shakes his head. It is still too blurry. Her look shifts from pure hostility to a deeply complicated mix of emotions. After a quiet pause, she finally reveals that their breakup 5 years ago is low-key heartbreaking. It had nothing to do with her mother's disapproval, and his heart skips a beat. Back then, his father's company, Zhang's Pharmaceuticals, was on the brink of collapse. They were going bankrupt because of the Pei family, making his eyes widen in shock. To save his father's company, Yanran made a brutal deal with her own mother. She agreed to go to England just to get Zhang's Pharmaceuticals back on its feet. In an instant, his blood runs cold. She just chuckles sadly at his reaction. Every lucky break in his career, every insane, rule-breaking promotion he ever received, it was all Yanran quietly pulling the strings in the dark. Now, the room is dead silent except for his pounding heart. His fingers clench into tight fists. 5 whole years! He actually thought those prestigious, out-of-nowhere invitations were just God throwing him a bone. But nope, someone was secretly paving a literal golden highway for him in the shadows.
And yet, when she finally returned after 5 long years, he just stared at her face.
Asking if they had met before, Qinghwan lets out a heavy, frustrated sigh. I really should not have told you this, Qinghwan says, his voice sounding completely hollow. Chen glares back with bloodshot eyes. Then why the hell did you tell me now? Qinghwan points out the window, because she stayed up all night and her hair literally turned white. Chen looks up in pure shock. He has never seen someone go through that before. Aging overnight from heartbreak? But Yanran actually did. Outside, the sun is finally rising. But Chen feels like he is sinking into absolute pitch-black darkness. After Qinghwan leaves, Tang Chu walks in with a cup of coffee, only to see him sitting on the sofa like a literal statue. She quietly sets the mug down. "Boss," she whispers, looking concerned, "are you doing okay?" He does not even look up. Chen just stares at that old photograph, gently tracing his fingers over the girl's face. Finally, he speaks in a low, strained voice. Tang Tuan, I need you to look into something.
Sure, boss. He flips the photo over. On the back, there is some delicate handwritten text.
My first wedding is only for you, Chen. Dated June 8th, 5 years ago.
Chen grips the photograph so tight his knuckles turn dead white. Find out what happened on June 8th, 5 years ago at St. John's Church in the western suburbs. Was there an unfinished wedding back then?
Tang Chu just stares at him, completely lost.
Boss, you... He slowly looks up.
His eyes are completely bloodshot. Just do it, he growls.
After Tang Chu leaves, Chen sits on that sofa for the entire night.
He stares at that photo over 100 times. The girl in it is laughing so happily, so carefree.
While the younger version of himself looks so bright and pure, like he's got zero worries.
He has absolutely no idea how he ended up losing her, or how he forgot her entirely. At 6 a.m., Tang Chu bursts straight into his apartment.
She did not even bother to knock, just used her spare key to rush in.
Her hair is a complete mess, and she has got massive dark circles under her eyes. Boss! She slams a thick stack of files onto the coffee table. Chen bolts upright. I found it, she gasps out. I actually found it! Boss, you need to prepare yourself for this. Chen grabs the top paper immediately.
It is a photocopy of the registration archives from St. John's Church in the western suburbs.
June 8th, 5 years ago, 3 p.m. The bride and groom, Jiang Chen and Pei Yanran. There are 2 witness signatures at the bottom. One is Yuan, and the other is his own father, Jiang Yuan. Bro, what? Chen's fingers begin to shake violently. Wait, there is more, Tang Shu says, pulling out another sheet of paper. Here are the transaction records from that day. Every single payment was signed by your father. Ahen collapses back onto the sofa. So that wedding was not just real. His own father was the one who planned it. Talk about a plot twist. For 5 whole years, his entire family has been lying to him. Boss, Tang Chu whispers softly. He slowly looks up. There is one more thing, she says, swallowing hard. Our boy Jiang Chen gets the old St. John's guard drunk to find out what actually ruined his wedding. Right as they swapped rings, things went completely south. The couple tumbled down the stairs and the bride blacked out. Jiang Chen blacked out too, but luckily she shielded him. That is why he only had minor scratches.
Tang Chu pauses, hinting things got way worse. Low-key, heartbreaking.
Hearing this, Jiang Chen closes his eyes as a single tear falls. Her fading voice echoes in his mind. Later, he stands outside the Pei Corporation headquarters, clutching a hot cup of black coffee. According to Tang Q, the female lead Pei Yanran comes downstairs at exactly 3 p.m. every single day. She always orders a black coffee with no sugar or milk. Ji Qinghuan mentioned it is so bitter it makes you grimace.
She picked up the habit in England and has kept it up for 5 long years.
It hurts that he forgot her favorite drink. Suddenly, the revolving doors open.
Pei Yanran steps out looking at her phone. She does not even glance his way until he calls her name, making her stop and turn around.
Her cold question cuts through the air. His prepared speech evaporates, and he can only stammer that he wants to talk. Checking her watch, she coldly gives him exactly 15 minutes. He hands over the drink. He lies that he just happened to pass by, but she refuses to touch it. She tells him to stop. He wants to apologize. She cuts him off. Her voice is flat, like she's reading a business report. She notes that Ji Qinghuan passed along his apology, and she accepted it. She asks if they are done, leaving him standing there holding the melting cup like a complete joke. Sure, he apologized, but then what?
He insists he genuinely lost his memory back then, about her, the wedding, everything.
He did not mean to. She interrupts, stating she knows all about his selective amnesia. Apparently, it makes perfect sense from a medical and logical standpoint. Should she just move on? Should she pretend 5 years never existed? Under her intense gaze, he cannot find a single word to defend himself. Sighing, she tells him she does not hate him.
She simply does not have the energy and has no clue how to face him anymore.
There is no need to seek her out because neither owes the other anything.
She turns to walk away, but stops after 2 steps to deliver one final blow.
She does not drink Americanos. Ouch! That is a massive emotional critical hit right there. He tosses the coffee into the trash. That night's sleep completely evades him. Her freezing look plays on a loop. She does not hate him, but she definitely has not forgiven him either. To her, he is just an irrelevant ghost. Desperate to change her mind, he texts Tianqiu to dig up her schedule. 5 minutes later, Tongqiu replies with a simple question mark. Jiang Chen clears his throat when his assistant calls him out for breaking his rule about not disturbing Pei Yanran. He tells them he changed his mind, and of course the assistant folds immediately because he is the boss. He is the boss, after all. Next morning, Tang Chi sends a report straight to Jiang Chen's phone with Pei Yanran's entire schedule for the week. Scanning the report, his finger pauses on the screen, right on Thursday's itinerary. An orphanage, and since today is literally Thursday, he does not give himself any time to hesitate. He drives straight to the orphanage, and once he pulls up, he sits in his car watching Pei Yanran play games with the kids from a distance. Pei Yanran is crouching on the ground, building blocks with a little girl in pigtails. The way he smiles completely overlaps with a blurry memory. Honestly, this is so wild. Jiang Chen actually remembers that exact smile from his past. His heart completely stops, and he knows he definitely remembers that smile. He stays in his car, just watching from the driver's seat. He just watches from afar as Pei Yanran laughs with the kids and shares a small slice of cake. Pei Yanran looks so incredibly happy, a total contrast to how cold he was yesterday. So he actually does smile in front of other people. Jiang Chen waits until his car finally drives off. Only then does Jiang Chen follow him, but Pei Yanran is not heading home. Instead, he drives out to the Beijing suburbs, and Jiang Chen follows his car into a very old neighborhood. He heads into a violin shop, leaving Jiang Chen waiting in his car for 40 minutes. When he finally walks out, he's carrying a long, narrow wooden case. It is a violin case, and he very carefully places it down onto the front passenger seat. But as Pei Yanran bends over, his eyes suddenly scan across the street, right toward Jiang Chen's car. Oh, this is insane! Their eyes meet across the street, and Pei Yanran totally freezes for a moment. Pei Yanran stands up straight, staring over as if trying to figure out what Jiang Chen is up to. Jiang Chen gets out and walks over, asking what is wrong with his violin. Pei Yanran glances at him, explaining the instrument is old and has some minor cracks on the surface. The wood was starting to split, so Uncle Zhao helped him glue it back together. He even got some new strings, and Pei Yanran speaks so casually, completely calm. Like he is just chatting with an old friend, but his grip on the case tells a different story. His fingers tighten slightly, and Jiang Chen catches that tiny detail right away. Jiang Chen asks to see it, and Pei Yanran hesitates for a second. Pei Yanran hands the case over, and Jiang Chen opens it to inspect the inner body. He spots a line of carved words inside, and his fingers completely freeze. To my only listener, Yanran. Jiang Chen looks up at him in total shock. It was given to you by your first listener, Pei Yanran says. You carved it. Jiang Chen stares at the words. Did he really write this? But Jiang Chen has no memory of it. Pei Yanran takes the violin back and puts it on the passenger seat. Closing the car door, he turns around and directly asks why Jiang Chen is following him. Jiang Chen purses his lips, admitting he does not really know. He just wanted to see him. Pei Yanran stays silent as the wind blows, messing up his hair a bit. Brushing it behind his ear, he asks what now, since Jiang Chen has seen him. Jiang Chen pauses. Jiang Chen asks if he is returning tomorrow, and Pei Yanran just stares at him. There is a strange, unreadable look in Pei Yanran's eyes as he says yes. He does not reply, but Jiang Chen promises to come back too. But there is no refusal either, as Pei Yanran gets into his car. Rolling the window halfway down, his voice drifts out of the car, calling out Jiang Chen. You do not need to make it up to me like this. I do not need your pity. But Jiang Chen is not pitying him. She just wanted to visit. He stays quiet as his car slowly rolls away from the street corner. She stands there, watching him go, until his taillights finally vanish around the corner. Then her phone buzzes with a text from him, telling her to meet tomorrow at 10. She stares at the short message and smiles, right there on the street, before pocketing her phone. But just as she heads home, boom, her phone buzzes once again.
It is her assistant, Tang Chu, calling with some urgent news she needs to hear immediately.
Tang Chu lowers his voice, warning her that Xu Jingyun met up with someone today.
They met up at a highly exclusive private club, and after some quick digging, she discovered his last name is Pei. His full name is Pei Jingheng. She has absolutely never heard of him before. When she asks who he is, Tang Chu hesitates before explaining he is the eldest cousin.
He is technically Pei Yanran's cousin, but why on earth is a member of that family meeting with Xu Jingyan?
Tang Chu does not know, but he did manage to dig up some spicy old family drama. 5 years ago, back when Pei Yanran's mother held all the power, she ruthlessly kicked the guy's father straight off the company's board. The two sides have not spoken a single word since then, meaning there is a massive grudge between them. Jane tightly grips her phone. Her mind is racing to connect all the dots. Now that Xu Jingyun and the cousin are teaming up, oh, you already know the drama is about to get wild. Their ultimate target is painfully obvious, so she asks if they can monitor his recent movements.
Tang Chu is already investigating him, but the mysterious cousin keeps a very low profile. No noise on the surface. He is completely quiet, so Jiang tells Tang Chu to keep watching. She demands immediate updates. Now, fast forward to 9:30 the very next morning. Jiang arrives at the orphanage gates, casually carrying a fresh cup of hot latte in her hand. It is customized with extra sugar and milk, and she even brought a breakfast sandwich. Showing up a full 30 minutes early, she peacefully sits down on a wooden bench near the entrance to wait until 9:50. Suddenly, a sleek white Porsche pulls up right in front of her, and he steps out wearing a stylish pink jacket. High ponytail, silver earrings. His stylish look perfectly matches his rebellious vibe. As he walks over, his gaze immediately drops to the coffee cup and the paper bag. She hands the snacks over, teasingly telling him that she brought a sandwich just in case he got hungry.
He glances down at the food, saying nothing but letting a tiny smile tug at his lips.
No bite taken. Carrying the food, he quietly turns to walk into the yard. She follows closely behind him. The orphanage schedule today is almost identical to yesterday. They spend the afternoon reading books, playing with toy blocks, and sharing snacks. He is incredibly sweet and fully engaged, kneeling right on the ground to play with the kids. She gently tells the children to eat slowly while she helps distribute the fresh fruit. Her gaze keeps drifting back to him the entire time until the snack session finally wraps up. Once the children are taken away for their afternoon nap, he goes to sit on a courtyard swing. Finally, he unwraps it. He takes a quiet bite of the sandwich.
Sitting down on the swing right next to him, she brings up his warning from yesterday about Xu Jingyun.
She presses him about his cousin, and honestly, the tension here is absolutely off the charts. He freezes in the middle of taking another bite, waiting several long, silent seconds before slowly swallowing his food. He refuses to look at her, speaking in a voice that is way too calm to be normal. He asks if she has been investigating his family, but she explains someone spotted him with Xu Jingyun. Total silence. A cold breeze gently sweeps across the quiet yard. The swing sways back and forth slightly before he finally breaks the silence, admitting Pei Jingheng is his uncle's son. Speaking very softly, he explains his mother kicked the guy's father out of the board 5 years ago. Ever since then, his cousin has held a massive grudge. She asks with deep concern if he ever caused trouble. She doesn't answer, just turns around to lock eyes with Jiang Chen. Pei Jingheng wouldn't dare strike openly, but if he teams up with others, then all bets are off. Jiang Chen's heart instantly sinks at the thought. She knows absolutely everything. Jiang Chen asks if she knew about his meeting with Xu Jingyun. She admits she didn't know they actually met, but she definitely saw it coming. After all, Xu Jingyun detests her, and Pei Jingheng straight up hates her guts. Two haters teaming up? No shot they are planning her a surprise birthday party. Her sarcastic tone almost makes Jiang Chen laugh, but honestly, this is way too serious. He asks what her next move is. What is she gonna do? She calmly wraps up her half-eaten sandwich like she doesn't have a care in the world. She casually mutters that they can try to touch her, if they even have the skills. Talk about boss energy! She acts like they are total nobodies, but Jiang Chen notices a tiny detail. Her grip on the paper bag is tightening. Just as Jiang Chen goes to say something, his phone suddenly buzzes. He pulls it out to check the screen. It is a text from Tang Chu stating they found out Pei Jingheng registered a new company 3 days ago.
The legal owner is a total stranger, but looking past the shell company, the actual ultimate beneficiary is Pei Jingjing himself. And get this new company just submitted an acquisition proposal to Pai's Entertainment yesterday. He is trying to buy out a specific sector of the company, and this business happens to control the exact subsidiaries that manage all of her performances. Jiang Chen stares at the screen, his mind racing. This is actually crazy. He looks up to find her staring down at her own phone. Her brows are knit tight. Yep, she definitely got the exact same update. She locks her screen, looks up at Jiang Chen, and gives a faint, chill smile.
She asks if he has plans this afternoon. He shakes his head, so she tells him to tag along.
Where are they going? She stands up and casually brushes off her clothes. With a cold smirk, she tells him they are paying her dear cousin a little visit. Before he can even reply, she is already heading straight for the car outside. She suddenly looks back, teasing him to hurry up, so he hops right into the passenger seat. The car speeds off into the streets, the wind rushing through the windows.
Wisps of her hair flutter in the breeze as Jiang Chen sneaks a glance at her. Honestly, her expression is so calm, it is almost terrifying.
He asks how she plans to confront him, but she just laughs it off. Confront him about his shady backdoor plays? She smiles and says she won't utter a single word. Jiang Chen is completely lost at this point. What is her play here? She explains that registering a new company and bidding for a buyout are completely legal.
If she storms in there pointing fingers over legit business moves, she will look like the bad guy.
He will just play the victim and accuse his own cousin of being petty and narrow-minded? Accusing her of sabotaging family business. She takes a brief pause.
So she is not there to discuss business. Jiang Chen asks what the point of this trip is then. She glances at him with a mischievous smirk playing on her lips.
They are going to hand-deliver a gift. Yes, a gift. A little congratulatory gift for his grand opening. Jiang Chen freezes in shock. Then the realization hits him, and he cannot help but lean back with a grin. Oh, she cooked. He tells her she is absolutely savage, but she just keeps driving in silence. Smirk gets wider. The car stops right outside a brand new office building. Jiang Chen looks up. This building is right across from the Pei Group headquarters. Just a road away, directly facing their headquarters. Right opposite the chairman's office window. What a choice. Clear provocation. She steps right out of the car. Grabbing a fancy gift bag from the trunk, she heads straight into the lobby. The receptionist is totally stunned to see her, asking what brings her here. Pei Yanran flashes a sweet smile, saying she's here to congratulate her cousin. She is here to celebrate. The receptionist hesitates. But she still makes the call upstairs. After hanging up, her face gets complicated as she tells them to head on up. He is on the 16th floor. Yanran smiles and thanks her. She eyes the gift bag. Jiang Chen follows her into the elevator. Elevator doors close. Instantly, her sweet smile disappears.
Jiang Chen jokes that she's a natural actress playing the perfect little sister.
She stays silent, but looking at the reflection on the doors, pure ice flashes in her eyes. The 16th floor arrived. They find a super luxurious office waiting for them at the end. She pushes the door right open. Pei Jingjing looks to be in his early 30s. His eyes look incredibly sharp and cunning. The moment he spots Yanran, he plasters on a huge fake smile and stands up to welcome them. He asks why she didn't warn him so he could have prepared for her. Talk about two fake people acting friendly. Yanran smiles back even sweeter and calls him cousin.
She complains that he kept such a massive new business launch a total secret.
She had to hear about it from others, so she dropped by to congratulate him.
She gently sets the gift bag down on his desk, incredibly graceful. He tells her she's being way too polite. He plays it down, calling it just a minor project. Minor project? With this expensive location and high-end decor? Final boss energy. He is clearly planning to build an entire empire. He tries to act humble, saying it's nothing compared to the massive Pei Group. Suddenly, his gaze shifts over to Jiang Chen, like he's just noticing him. Yanran introduces Jiang Chen pretty casually, acting like he's just some random +1. But the second Pei Jingjing hears that name, his face shifts. His eyes flicker with recognition for a split second before he locks it down.
He stretches out a hand, calling Jiang Chen a world-class musician.
Jiang Chen shakes his hand back, cutting through his fake politeness.
Jingxing gives him a long, cold look, clearly sizing up his new opponent.
Pulling his hand back, he turns to Yanran, pointing out that she looks pretty tired.
He puts on a worried face, asking if she's staying up too late. He tells her to watch her health and stop overworking.
She shrugs it off, but he suddenly acts like he remembered something.
He mentions her getting close with the Shu family, making Jiang Chen's heart drop.
Ain't no way. He brought it up, but her smile doesn't slip.
She notes how fast he gets info, but he says the circle is tiny.
It is impossible to ignore this guy. Zhang notices the villain's eyes instantly scanning his face.
Just a quick, sharp look. Honestly, the Zhu family is incredibly powerful nowadays. Dealing with them requires extra caution. He plays it off like friendly advice.
But Zhang hears the clear threat to Pei Yanran. I know exactly who you're dealing with.
He is also heavily hinting, I know everything. I know the guy next to you is tied to the Shu family. Yuan does not bite. She just smiles and nods. You are right, brother, so I will let you get back to work. Let us grab dinner sometime. And with that, she turns and walks out.
Zhang follows her closely, but right as they reach the exit, our main character looks back. Pei Sing is already standing behind his massive desk.
His fake smile is completely gone. Bro's gaze is low-key sharp as a winter blade.
The moment the elevator door slides shut, Jiang lets out a massive sigh of relief.
Did you feel that? Jiang asks. He is not here to play a normal business war. He is warning you that he knows exactly what you are doing and who you are with.
Yanran stays quiet, but her fingers tighten into a small fist. Talk about silent tension. They walk out of the lobby and get back into her car.
She does not start the engine right away, just leaning back against the seat. Staring through the windshield, she looks up at the top floor of the Pei headquarters.
That is his office, she says. He opened his company right opposite mine on purpose.
Just so I have to look up every single day and see his threat?
Do you know what he wants? She asks. She drops a line that low-key chills Jiang to the bone.
He wants to recreate the moment my mom kicked his dad off the board years ago. Only this time, I am the one getting thrown out. The car falls dead silent. Jiang finally asks what she plans to do about it.
She just turns to him with a quick smile and finally starts the engine. Leaning back in the passenger seat, Jiang watches her perfectly calm profile. This female lead is built different. She definitely does not need any protection. She just needs an ally to stand beside her and not drag her down when she strikes.
That night, Jiang returns to his apartment and sits on the couch, deep in thought.
His mind keeps replaying everything that went down in Pei Jingxing's office earlier. Especially that warning that Shu Jingyun has been showing interest in Jiang lately. It keeps ringing in his ears. Honestly, the villain did not say that by accident. He wanted Yanran to hear it. It was a clear sign that he knows her inner circle.
Knowing exactly who is making moves, Zhang quickly grabs his phone.
He texts Tang Chu, asking him to look into how Shu Jingyun and Pei Jingxing met.
Find out when they met and if anyone connected them. A few minutes later,
Tang Q replies that it is handled, then adds he forgot to mention one detail. While Jiang was out this afternoon, someone delivered a package to his apartment. The sender's name on the box is Miss Shu. Zhang stares at his screen in shock. How does Shu Jingyun even know his address? Before he can even reply, another text pops up saying the package is still sealed. It is sitting right under his shoe cabinet. Zhang immediately gets up to check. Sure enough, a small cardboard box is waiting. He kneels down to open it. Inside the packaging is a sleek black velvet box. He opens the lid. A pair of elegant cufflinks is resting inside, with a small card underneath them. The note says the flowers that night got ruined, so here are cufflinks to make up for it. It's signed off wishing to see him wear them next time, and our boy stares at Shu Jingyun's name for a long time. One guy sends cufflinks, while Pei Jingxing brings him up right in front of Pei Yanran. These two are playing both sides, one in the open, one in shadows. It feels like they are teaming up to play a massive chess game, and the pieces
go way beyond him and Pei Yanran. He snaps the box shut.
He leaves it on the coffee table and texts Tang Chu back. Got the package. Keep digging into Pei Jingxing. He puts down his phone and leans back on the sofa, closing his eyes to think. The next morning, our main character arrives at the orphanage entrance a solid 40 minutes early.
He is still holding a hot latte and a sandwich in his hands. But today, he did one extra thing, having Tang Chi work overnight on a
Detailed file on Pei Jing, printed out and packed into a thick manila envelope.
When she pulls up at the entrance, she spots the envelope in his hand.
She raises an eyebrow, asking what that is.
Your cousin's resume, he says, handing the envelope over to her. He explains that Tang Q dug all night to find every company registered under his name.
Where his money comes from and everyone he met these past 3 months, it is all inside.
She takes the envelope but does not open it right away.
Instead, she looks up, asking why he checked him. Our main character replies, because he is coming for you. And I cannot let you face him alone. She just stares at our boy.
Clutching the thick file in her hands, she falls silent for 2 or 3 seconds. Then she slips the file into her bag, the corner of her mouth twitching slightly.
Thanks, she whispers softly, but our boy hears it perfectly.
That day at the orphanage, while she's playing games with the kids, she seems way more relaxed than before. He just watches from a bench nearby. Eating his sandwich, he listens to the swings creak back and forth. Sunlight filters down through the leaves, and the air smells like warm sunshine and sweet cookies.
He watches her crouch down, patiently teaching a little girl how to solve a puzzle.
Her ponytail sways with every movement. Honestly, she is not the girl from his memories anymore. But bit by bit, he is going to make sure she gets to know him all over again. That afternoon, she does not mention a single word about Pei Jingxing. She does not even ask why he is helping her. But right as he is about to leave, she stands by the orphanage gates and softly asks if he is coming back tomorrow.
If so, bring me an iced Americano. Our boy freezes for a second.
Thought you did not drink iced stuff. She just tilts her head. With a mischievous spark in her eyes, she asks, "Did not you promise to slowly learn my habits?" She hops into her car, leaving our boy grinning like an idiot at the gates for a solid few seconds. He grabs his phone and texts her, "Tomorrow, you are definitely getting that iced coffee." No reply comes, but he watches her white Porsche pause briefly at the next intersection. Then she turns and disappears through the car window. He faintly spots her looking down at her phone. Later that evening, back in his apartment, he sits down to go through the file on Pei Jingxing once more. He reads it over 3 times. Honestly, Tang Chu is the ultimate lifesaver assistant here. Besides company registration and financial records, he also attached an extra hidden file. Jiang Chen got a full look at Pei Jingxing's social circle over 3 months. Every single venue he visited, even the specific restaurants where he hosted dinners. Everything was detailed perfectly. Our main character stared directly at one specific entry. His fingers stopped right there on a date from 3 months ago. Pei Jingxing met Xi Jingyun's father, Ximing Yuan, at a private suburban ranch. The meeting lasted about 40 minutes with Ximing Yuan. Realizing it was her dad, he read the words again and called Tang Qiu. He asked what they discussed during that meeting and if they could track it. Tang Qiu went silent for 2 seconds before answering. President Zhang. Information on a high-level meeting like that never leaks, but here is the thing. Right after they met, one of Su Mingyuan's companies did something very interesting. They immediately injected some cash into Pei Jingxing's new company. Just enough to cover the pocket change of the startup capital. He frowned.
Meaning the Shu family is actively backing him?
Yeah, this is getting wild. He hung up the phone and leaned back on his sofa, deep in thought. Pei Jingxing got the Shu family on his side, and Xu Xingyun hated him. There is no way her dad did not know, yet he still invested. He wasn't just doing it for his daughter. He wanted this outcome himself. He is going against Pei Yanran. Honestly, this faction is absolutely massive. Meanwhile, Pei Yanran is just sitting across the chessboard waiting for them to move. He walked to the window, staring out at the dark night. She can wait. But our main character? Absolutely not. First thing the next morning. Instead of heading to the orphanage, he went to a different spot entirely. St. John's Church in the western suburbs, his first time actually coming here voluntarily. Before this, his blurry memories of this place were only triggered by accident. He pushed open the heavy doors, finding the place completely empty. Only an elderly lady dressed in black was sitting in the very front row. She was quietly praying, so he softly slipped into a back pew. He tried searching his mind for any memories of this place, but got nothing. Just as he got up to leave, an old voice called out from behind. Asking if he was Jiang Chen?
He immediately spun around.
Standing near the door was an old man wearing a gray shirt. Jiang Chen asked who he was, and the man introduced himself as Caretaker Zhou.
The caretaker remembered him from before, which instantly shocked our main character.
Zhou sat down, mentioning Jiang Chen had his wedding here 5 years ago.
He asked what Jiang Chen wanted to know, recalling his evening shift. That afternoon, the nervous groom and his gorgeous bride arrived together. The old man kept going. By 6, the entire church was covered in white lilies. The moment the bride walked out, the entire crowd went completely silent. Jiang Chen was so nervous back then, he could barely speak a word. Then, out of nowhere, things went horribly wrong without any warning. The whole main altar suddenly collapsed, and the bride was closest to him. Her immediate reaction was to throw herself over him to protect him.
Jiang Chen only got scratches, but they both passed out before help arrived.
The doctors blamed extreme shock. So what actually happened next? Both of them were rushed to the hospital while the caretaker watched. And after that, well, the caretaker doesn't know anything else. The old man stands up and gently pats Ah Chen on the shoulder. He tells him to ask his own people. He is just a gatekeeper. Okay, so Ah Chen storms out, immediately grabbing his phone. Teng Cho picks up instantly. Ah Chen asks if he knows about him and Yanran.
5 seconds of dead silence pass before Teng Chu asks what he means.
The last time they saw each other, Teng Chu's breathing suddenly gets heavy. Teng Chu reveals she was dragged away at the airport, causing Ah Chen to faint.
He woke up with total amnesia. Teng Chu goes quiet for a while.
After the wedding disaster, her family immediately sent her off to England.
Everyone thought she... But he stops mid-sentence, asking why Ah Chen is bringing this up.
Because they believe she wanted a better life and cut all ties with him. Ah, Chen laughs. A cold, bitter sound. They actually believed that nonsense. Why did nobody tell him? Teng Chu stays silent, making him snap completely. They simply didn't want to see him get hurt all over again. He was in a coma for a night, screaming Yanran's name the whole time. Nobody had the heart to trigger those memories. Teng Chu's voice cracks.
Taking a deep breath, Ah Chen asks what happened next.
His dad took him home and told him that Yanran had left. She went to England. Back then, he felt nothing.
The doctor blamed extreme trauma for his 5-year amnesia.
Closing his eyes, he realizes his whole life was a massive lie. Staring ahead, he drives straight toward the Jiang Group headquarters. He slams on the gas, speeding right through the company gates. The receptionist freezes as he storms past, heading straight for the top floor. Storming in, he kicks open his father's office door. He was completely blind while his father quietly reviewed company files. Looking up to see him, the older man's pen suddenly freezes midair.
His dad asks why he's here, but Ah Chen demands immediate answers.
Pointing out the wedding details, he notes his dad's signature as witness.
Every single payment was authorized by him. Why keep silent about Yanran?
Why did he never say a word? His father slowly puts down his pen. Staring at his son, Zhang Jiwan sighs and closes his eyes in defeat. He explains that after the wedding disaster, she was immediately sent away. Her mother took her. His father claims he thought she chose a better life. Instead of staying, hearing this, Ah Chen feels completely suffocated. His father says he woke up remembering nothing due to extreme emotional shock. The old man believed this amnesia was just a mercy from heaven. Mercy? Chen's voice cracks as he yells. His father called her sacrifice? Betrayal. She sacrificed herself in England just to save their failing family business. Every single major break in his career was paved by her efforts.
Everyone thought she abandoned him, but she was literally carrying this entire family.
Suddenly, the door flies open. His mother, Song Huilan, stands there in shock. She drops her tea, begging him to calm down, but it's over.
When he sees his dad, his smile freezes, polite and distant.
Wanting to see an unrelated outsider now, don't you feel guilty?
His mom claims Pei Yanran left while he lay unconscious, calling her name. She tells him she hated Pei Yanran for abandoning him for 5 years.
But here is the massive plot twist. She never abandoned him. Her own mother dragged her away.
At the airport, she literally screamed for him to wait, dragged onto the plane.
He saw her get taken away with his own eyes before waking up. With 0 memories left, Song Hui-lan's eyes flicker with shock. What they called betrayal was her sacrifice, carrying their burdens in England for 5 years. They hated her for 5 years, but he never even got the chance to hate. Bro, he couldn't even remember her name. His father, Jiang Jiwan, grips the table, his knuckles turning paper white. The silence is incredibly heavy, and Tang Qiu stands outside, afraid to enter. But his eyes are already red, so our guy turns to face him. Tang Qiu takes a breath, explaining both were rushed to ambulances after the crash. As she passed out, she tightly gripped his hand, refusing to let go. She let go at the hospital. He only had minor scratches. He woke up quickly, but stayed by her bedside because her injuries were worse. When she woke up, they embraced, but then her mother showed up with thugs. They dragged her out of the hospital, making him chase her to the airport.
You know the rest. Everyone assumed she had abandoned you.
They couldn't bear to let him remember, only wanting to protect him.
Protect me? His voice cracks with tears, questioning their protection. You protected a man who forgot everything while she suffered alone, bearing everything for 5 years for him. Ignoring his name, he walks away. His mother tries to hold him back, but he walks straight out. Driving out of the Zhang family gates, he immediately calls Tang Qiu. He demands her location, and Tang Qiu reveals Miss Pei is currently at the orphanage, so he turns the wheel and drives right over. His phone vibrates with a text from Tang Qiu, and he glances at it. Locking the screen, there is only one place left for him to go. He finds her at the orphanage, gently braiding a little girl's hair on the lawn. She turns and sees him, her warm smile instantly freezing for a second. She quickly masks her emotions, asking with a familiar, distant look why he came. He tells her he spoke to his dad, and though silent, her eyes tremble. He explains his father thought she abandoned him, keeping it secret for 5 years. His mother hated her for 5 years, making Pei Yanran's eyelashes tremble with emotion. She cries that he finally knows, her eyes turning completely red. Fighting back tears, she admits she watched his performances in England every day. Watching him play her chosen song in Vienna, but 5 long years have already passed. She cries that he missed her best years, but he pulls her into a tight embrace. After a long silence, she finally looks up. She reminds him of his promise to only marry her, which she remembered for 5 years. She asks if he forgot that too, and suddenly, lost memories rush back. He remembers the church, too nervous to speak as she walked out in her white veil. Everyone goes dead silent as our girl Yanran confesses he's the absolute love of her life. She promises she'll only marry him, making him smile until his eyes crinkle. Then he gives her a soft, brief kiss. But she grabs his hand tightly and kisses him right back. He begs her never to leave again, saying they need to be together forever. Buried in her shoulder, he murmurs that he's been waiting for those words. For 5 whole years, but right then, her phone starts buzzing.
It's a text from her assistant, Tang Qiu, warning her about paging Xing.
His acquisition proposal is officially under review, and Xiuming Yuan just tripled his financial backing. With an emergency board meeting called at the company, her man looks up and spots the screen. He realizes paging Xing is getting desperate, tripling the funds like that. It means he either found a much bigger backer or he wants to muddy the waters before the review. He lets go of her shirt and stares up at her. He's completely shocked, asking her how she managed to know all of this. She casually mentions she kept a copy of his files to study them. He freezes for a second, then chuckles, asking when she got so proactive. She smirks, saying it started the moment he set that 10 o'clock deadline. His smile is no longer testing her. It's full of absolute, undeniable certainty. She's already planning her move for next week, but he just reaches out to grab her hand. He holds on tight, just like he did 5 years ago in the hospital. Holding her hand tightly, he whispers that right now, he only wants to be with her. Neither of them wants to let go. Later that night, they make a move. They sit on a bench outside the orphanage, discussing how paging Xing wants to muddy the waters. But she has a savage plan. She'll let him drown in his own dirty waters. His real target is total control of the company, and he asks how she's sure. Simple, because he set up his new office directly across from hers. A simple buyer wouldn't waste rent money like that. He's declaring war. This isn't business, Intrigued, he asks how she plans to expose him.
Our female lead just shakes her head, calmly saying she'll let him expose himself.
She asks him if he still has those files from Tang Qiao, and he nods. She smiles gently and tells him that's perfect.
She tells him she needs him standing right by her side in a few days. A few days later, she gets to the top floor meeting room early.
Her assistant, Tang Qiu, is right by her side, clutching a stack of files.
Though nervous, Tang Chu's eyes are glowing with excitement for this long-awaited showdown.
The female lead stays silent, her fingers gripping the leverage tightly.
She's memorized every single transaction and cash flow in those papers.
Every meeting, every date, she knows it all. This is her ultimate weapon.
And today, she's handing over the knife. Suddenly, the board members arrive.
Pei Jingxing enters last, giving her a sharp, calculating look when he sees her.
But he quickly masks it with a fake greeting, saying she looks great.
As the meeting begins, Pei Jingxing immediately takes the floor.
He proudly brings up his proposal to acquire their cultural tourism subsidiary.
Then he looks right at her with a smug grin.
He claims this deal is a win-win for everyone. Talk about absolute audacity.
He claims separating the subsidiary boosts efficiency and lifts the financial pressure off the parent company.
Pei Yanran says nothing, just staring him down.
With a slight smirk, she says, "Pei Jingxing, I read your letter of intent.
But there is one tiny issue. The legal representative of your acquisition entity is named Zhao Wen. Yet once we trace the equity structure, the ultimate beneficiary is actually you."
The conference room goes dead silent as Pei Yanran drops the files on the table.
Pei Jingxing takes a quick look, and his confident smile instantly begins to freeze.
He stammers that this is just a minor technicality that does not change the deal.
Ignoring him completely, she coldly asks, "Who is your strategic investor?"
Sweat starts dripping down Pei Jingxing's face as he claims it is a trade secret. Too confidential to share, but Pei Yanran just smiles. No need to tell me. I already found out that 2 of Suming Yuan's companies are jointly funding this. At this point, Pei Jingxing's face goes pale, and the board members start whispering. Pei Yanran picks up the third document, her voice as calm as ever. Third question. Your proposal states that once the takeover is complete, you have certain rights. The buyer has the right to restructure the target company's assets
and shift its business direction. What exactly does this restructuring cover?
Pei Jingxing stays dead silent, and the entire room goes absolutely quiet. The assistant watches this play out, realizing he is not just buying a subsidiary. He wants to grab 15% and use it as leverage to steal control of the entire Pei group. Suddenly, Pei Jingxing stands up. He sneers. "You think this can stop me?" Pei Yanran just sits there calmly. She asks, "You think I only have these 3 files?" Pei Jingxing's eyes widen. Tang Qiu hands a stack of internal documents directly to Pei Yanran. He then walks over to push the door open, revealing 2 people waiting outside. A lawyer and an auditor who have been investigating his company since last week. They ran a full compliance audit on your company, finding massive financial irregularities. You concealed key terms, meaning this is a textbook hostile takeover attempt. There is one more thing. The auditor pauses and looks at the assistant. Pei Jingxing's smug smile completely breaks as he yells, "You kicked my dad out!" I swore that sooner or later you would pay the price for that. Pei Yanran sighs impatiently. "My mother kicked your father off the board because he embezzled $30 million and faked the books for 3 years. Did you actually think he was innocent? He was not framed. He broke the law and got kicked out, but my mom spared him jail."
She even left your father a way out, yet you call that unfair?
So you spent 5 years plotting revenge all because of a delusion? Well, let me tell you right now, everything you did was completely useless. Pei Jingxing is completely shaken, stammering, "How did you find out?" When my mother cleaned up the board, she kept the complete audit files. I read every single page. She then turns to look at the board. Everyone the real mastermind behind this acquisition?
Pei Jingxing's dirty background and his fraudulent proposal are now right on the table.
Now, let's vote. An elderly board member speaks up immediately. The acquisition is rejected. We are launching a full compliance investigation. No one objected. Pei Jingxing stood right in the center of the boardroom. Like a broken blade, his dark, gloomy glare was still there. But his edge was completely gone. He looked at our boy, then at Pei Yanran. His lips twitched slightly, but no sound came out. He turned and slowly made his way toward the exit.
Pausing at the door, he looked back at Pei Yanran, asking if she really thought this was over.
Pei Yanran ignored him, coldly mentioning how he set up his company right across from hers. But now, looking up at his fancy sign, she could only see a massive wall of violations. Pei Jinghong finally slunk away, the boardroom doors shutting behind him. The heavy tension evaporated instantly, and all the directors turned to stare at Pei Yanran. Their eyes held a look our boy had never seen before, and no, it wasn't fear. It was absolute respect. Soon after, our main character and Pei Yanran stepped out of the headquarters. Standing across the street, they saw that Pei Jingheng's company sign was still hanging high. The glass walls reflected the sun, proudly displaying the name Jinghong Culture Media in huge letters. It looked brand new, as if it was just put up yesterday. Our boy stared at it. Once the compliance investigation officially kicks off, his only choice is to liquidate everything. Either he transfers the assets and runs, or he goes down. There's no third option. Her lips curled into a smirk, promising that this sign would vanish within 3 days. By then, she said, turning to look at him, the only thing left to see up there would be the clear sky. Her eyes softened completely. As they walked out of the building together,
Seeing our boy smile, his man smiled back and handed him a latte.
the MC took it, glancing down to find it had 0 sugar, a little detail that made him laugh. Clutching the cup, he whispered that he finally remembered. Just then, Tong Chu's call came through, calling him bro. The compliance investigation results are fully out. Pei Jinghong was officially nailed for malicious acquisition. His corporate accounts are frozen, and Shu Mingyuan's capital was forced to return. He is liquidating to flee overnight, and even Shu Jingyun pulled all of his collaborations. They even released a statement cutting him off completely. Hearing this, our boy smiled softly. His teeth were already knocked out, yet he still tried to take one last desperate bite. Staring across at the empty glass wall, our boy whispered that she was absolutely right. Looking up now, there really is nothing but the open sky.
His eyes filled with warmth as he continued.
But there are still 2 things left to settle. His own mother has hated his lover for 5 whole years. Ever since his lover was forced away, 5 long years passed. Back at the Jiang family estate, Song Huilan sat sipping her tea. It was time to clear up the first misunderstanding. "Mom," he said, "I came to tell you the truth." His mother didn't even look up at him, asking if he was here to speak for that man again. "I'm not here to defend him," our boy replied. "I'm here to tell you the absolute truth. 5 years ago, he didn't abandon me willingly. He was forcibly dragged away by his own mother. That day at the airport, he kept looking back, screaming for me to wait for him. But they forced him onto the plane. I tried to chase him, but I collapsed right there. When I finally woke up, my memory was completely gone." Hearing this, Song Huilan froze. Her teacup was suspended midair as she gasped in utter shock. "You thought he abandoned me, which is why you hated him for 5 years. But he never did. Instead, he spent 5 brutal years in the UK carrying the Zhang Group, clearing my path. He took all the hits for me. You always believed he chose to leave. But the reality is, he was forcibly sent away." Song Huilan's hand trembled, her grip tightening around the cup. Song Huilan realizes she has been hating the wrong person this whole time, tears instantly spilling over. She says she only saw Yanran leave back then, while Jiang Chen screamed her name all night. Believing the poor girl had abandoned her son, she let that bitterness fester for 5 long years. Jiang Chen begs his mom not to hate her, his own voice cracking with pure emotion. So he promises to bring Yanran home for dinner tomorrow, making Song Huilan wipe away her tears. She nods, right as Jiang Chen's father, Jiang Yuan, steps out of the study looking heavy-hearted. His fists are clenched tight, and he stands there in absolute silence for what feels like forever. He finally admits Yanran took the fall for Jiang Chen for 5 years without ever receiving a thank you. Turns out the dad was the one who planned their wedding, signing his own name as the official witness. But when everything went sideways that day, he chose to keep Jiang Chen in the dark for 5 years. The dad claimed he was protecting his son, but honestly, it was just a weak excuse to run away.
Jiang Yuan pulls out a dusty box from behind his back, admitting it should have been handed over years ago.
He confesses his mistakes as they slowly open up the box together.
Inside are photos from that tragic wedding 5 years ago, along with an old, forgotten videotape. The label reads June 8th at St. John's Church, and they slide the tape into the player. On the screen, Yanran appears in a beautiful white wedding gown, holding lilies as she walks down the aisle. A young, nervous Jiang Chen stutters out his vows, making both the guests and his bride burst into laughter. She then runs straight into his arms, sending the entire crowd into a cheering, teasing frenzy. Amidst the thunderous applause, the old Jiang Chen on screen can only hold her tight, grinning like an idiot. Watching this, actual tears start rolling down Jiang Chen's face as the locked-away memories finally start to resurface. This time, it is not just random, blurry fragments anymore. He's seeing the whole beautiful picture. It is like a vault of buried memories has been unlocked. Later that afternoon, Yanran gets a sudden phone call.
She hesitates for a second before answering. On the line, her mother mentions looking over the board files.
She admits Yanran did a much better job than she ever did before sending her away 5 years ago. Her mother confesses she thought sending her to the United Kingdom was protection, but those 5 years were brutal.
Yet Yanran took every single forced path her mother laid out and paved her own legendary way instead.
The older woman adds that she once thought Jiang Chen was completely beneath her daughter, but these years changed everything. It finally clicked that Yanran chose him herself, and absolutely nobody could stand in their way anymore. Pei Yanran's voice starts trembling as she whispers that she has been waiting so long to hear her say that. There is a long pause on the other line before she softly admits she owes her daughter so much more. From now on, she can run the family business her own way without her mother interfering ever again.
Yanran has proved she is built different, and after hanging up, she just stands by the window in deep thought. She is so lost in her feelings, she doesn't even notice Jiang Chen walking in until she turns around and smiles. She tells him her mother finally approved of him and promised to never dictate her life ever again.
Hearing that she surpassed her mother's expectations, Jiang Chen walks over and pulls her into a warm, tight embrace.
Seriously, she's waited 5 agonizing years for this validation, and it hits way harder than any apology ever could. The next day, Jiang Chen brings Yanran home, where his mother, Song Huilan, is waiting at the door watching her. She confesses she carried resentment for 5 long years, honestly believing Yanran had just abandoned her son. But Jiang Chen set the record straight, revealing she actually promised to wait for him at the airport.
Song Huilan steps forward, taking Yanran's hands into her own, and sincerely apologizes for letting her down.
Admitting her own deep doubts only added to the heavy, silent burdens Yanran had to carry. Now she is crying too, apologizing for never realizing Yanran was quietly helping Jiang Chen succeed this entire time. As Yanran's tears flow silently, the mother-in-law softly declares that she owes both of them a proper wedding. Since the ceremony they planned 5 years ago was cut short, she wants to host it again for them. She vows that this time they will finish what they started, back at St. John's Church. Old Zhou is waiting at the door, watching them walk in as he welcomes them back. He has waited 5 years. Every day before opening up, he would stare at that repaired stage, hoping they would return. He stands on stage, shaking. 5 years ago, he was choked up, but this time, he has only one name, Pei Yanran. He declares that she is the only one for him, and nobody is taking her away.
Chen smiles through his tears. She softly whispers, "Ah, Chen."
She waited 5 long years, and now the waiting is finally over.
They exchanged the rings they could not put on 5 years ago. Peak romance.
They finally slide them on. Tears stream down her face, but her smile is more genuine than ever. Pei Yanran's mother is silent. She just watches her daughter as Chen holds her hand. Looking up, she gazes at the sky. A happy future is waiting. Cut to their first morning. Morning sun peeks right through the curtains. He reaches out, but the other side is completely empty. Panic hits him instantly, and he bolts upright in bed. He dashes out barefoot. Nobody is there. Then he spots her out on the balcony. The morning light catches her hair.
She is just spacing out, so Chen wraps his arms around her from behind. She leans back, murmuring that she is just used to waking up early. That was her daily routine in the United Kingdom. Why wake up so early? To wait for you, she says. Waiting for his performance videos and new album releases. Waiting to hear him play Old Dreams. She pauses. Her voice is like a soft mist, searching for him every single day. Hearing this absolutely breaks his heart. For 5 years she looked for him, while he did not even remember her name.
He gently kisses her head, promising she never has to search again.
Because he is right next to her, she stays silent. But she tightly grips his sleeve, giving a quiet nod. Chen makes her some porridge and she slowly sips it.
Then he suddenly remembers what Ji Qinghwan said.
She survived on nutrient fluids in the United Kingdom. Bro, that is low-key heartbreaking. His heart melts, softly telling her to take her time.
She smirks, teasing that she cannot eat fast with him staring.
He promises to look away. He pretends to look outside, but his eyes never leave her. Once finished, she lets out a totally satisfied sigh. Suddenly, Chen's phone buzzes with a message. The text is pure hype, congratulating him on finally getting married. Asking if he's awake and slept well. How is his mood accompanying the heiress, and what are they having for breakfast? Jiang Chen does not reply to a single text, but another one pops up immediately. By the way, President Jiang, you have another performance scheduled for next Wednesday. You are in Shenzhen with the heiress, who previously booked you out for 3 whole years. Now that you two are married, do you want to adjust this performance schedule?
Jiang Chen hands his phone over to Pei Yanran, asking about her booking his shows.
Wondering how they should settle it now, she glances at the message and laughs. She playfully asks if the shows his own wife bought can even be refunded, leaving him helplessly joking about being kept by her. She looks up at him with a glimmer of triumph shining in her eyes. Back then, she spent $5.2 million to have him play a song, but now she booked him for 3 whole years. Asking him if it is a steal, she wonders how many shows there are in total. She calculates, roughly 40 shows.
That is less than $150,000 per show, and his value has skyrocketed.
Early bird price, you know? He asks when she picked up all this business talk, wondering if she learned it managing companies in the United Kingdom. She notes she has to know her numbers, pausing for a moment. Her voice softens as she adds that she carefully handpicked every single one of those performances, checking every single venue and organizing every set list herself. She even personally reviewed every single seating layout just to watch him perform. Back when she was in the United Kingdom, before every single show,
She would receive a detailed venue report to confirm that the lighting, sound, and safety measures were all perfect.
only then would she sign off, she says, looking at him with a soft voice. She could not stand on stage with him, but she made sure everything was flawless when he performed, ensuring only the absolute best for those 40-plus shows over 3 years. Talk about a plot twist. He thought it was luck, but she was guarding him. Someone who had constantly double-checked every single power cord and speaker for his sake. He softly asks why she did not come see him back then, as she gently caresses his face. She explains her mother did not understand him, and investing in the Jiang family came with one strict condition. They were strictly forbidden from meeting, leaving him deeply touched as he pulls her into a tight hug. Just then, another urgent message from Tang Chu pops up, begging President Jiang to please reply to him. He tells him to stop getting lost in romance and just confirm if the Shenzhen show is still happening. Pei Yanran grabs his phone and sends a direct voice note confirming they are going to the Shenzhen show. She adds that starting next month, all future performance contracts will be transitioned into a joint husband and wife deal. Jiang Chen's appearance fee remains unchanged, but the Pei group will no longer handle things separately. Instead, they will sign directly with Jiang Chen's studio, prompting Tang Qiu to instantly reply, praising her brilliant decision. Saying he will not disturb the newlyweds, Tang Qiu signs off, and she hands the phone back to Jiang Chen. With a slight smirk, she finds his assistant quite amusing, while he admits the guy just talks too much. But she knows he is reliable, otherwise she would never have let him stay by Jiang Chen's side. Realizing Tang Chu was her doing, he asks for confirmation, but she dodges the question. Instead, she playfully asks if he truly believes a normal music school graduate could do all this? Seriously, she literally paved his way to the international stage from day one. What a boss. He realizes she was always the secret behind his luck before she suggests they visit a special place. Arriving at the orphanage, a little girl with pigtails standing near the entrance is the first to notice them.
She runs over immediately, wrapping her arms tightly around Pei Yanran's legs.
Then, spotting Jiang Chen, the little girl's eyes widen as she asks who this big brother is.
Pei Yanran kneels down, pats the little girl's head, and proudly calls him her husband. The kid is totally shocked. Husband means married? Yes, it does.
She looks from Pei Yanran to our boy, tilting her head.
Why is your hair white? Pei Yanran freezes. This part low-key hurts. Our boy's chest tightens as she smiles, saying she waited too long.
That's why it turned white. The kid listens seriously. Then you don't have to wait anymore. He's right here.
Will it turn black again? She smiles, saying he will dye it for her.
That'll be so pretty. Our boy kneels down to her level.
Absolutely. She's always been gorgeous anyway.
Her brother grins, running off to spread the news.
So the kids start shouting that the sister's husband is insanely handsome, and the whole yard immediately goes wild.
They all crowd around him, asking a million questions at once about what he does for a living.
They ask if he can play the flute and if he will teach them.
The kids are just too cute. Pei Yanran just stands there watching them, his eyes curving into the warmest, most gentle smile. Later, once the kids are down for their afternoon nap, she and Yanran sit together on the courtyard swing. It has been so long since they had a quiet moment like this, especially during those 5 years in the UK.
He admits he was constantly swamped with board meetings and show coordination, but he still checked her updates every single day.
She turns to him, saying he does not need to check anymore because she is right here, and he softly nods. He says habits take time to break, and she tells him they can take all the time they need. There is no rush at all, but then he suddenly mentions there is one more thing he never told her. She asks what it is, and he confesses he has been secretly sponsoring this orphanage all along, without his family name. Honestly, this is low-key heartwarming. She explains she sends money every single month under her own name. Endless supplies, clothes, books. Even when she was stuck in the United Kingdom, the funding never once stopped.
She says these kids are just like him, completely trapped by family expectations.
No waiting 5 years for results. Jiang Chen just stares at her side profile. Man, she is built different. Even while suffering herself, she is still out here shielding everyone else. Suddenly, footsteps echo. Jiang Chen looks up.
Xu Xingyun is standing right there at the gate holding a bag of toys.
Awkwardly smiling, she claims she is doing charity.
She glances nervously at Pei Yanran, then turns her eyes toward Jiang Chen.
Trying to sound casual, she mentions hearing the orphanage needed some supplies. Pei Yanran stands up right then. Her face is calm, but eyes turn ice cold. She coldly questions her, while Xu Xingyun stammers about the Pei Wenyu business. She officially cut ties and released a statement. She is totally done with Pei Jinghong and apologizes for the mess. Pei Yanran says to just wire the money. Is she here for sincerity or to flaunt those cufflinks to Jiang Chen? Honestly, Pei Yanran says she already let go of her plotting with Pei Jinghang. She handled it and moved on.
But charity is not a PR stunt, and standing there with toys is pathetic.
Xu Jingyuan bites her lip when told her kindness is nothing but a cheap, staged performance. Pei Yanran clutches her bag tightly, staring at Xu Jingyun for a couple of tense seconds.
Then she turns back around to sit on the swing, telling him he can leave.
But she cold shoulders him, adding that next time he does not need to show up.
His face turns pale with humiliation as our main character refuses to say a word.
Realizing he is not wanted, he drops the stuff and bolts twice as fast as he arrived.
With the yard quiet again, Pei Yanran's voice instantly returns to its usual calm, indifferent tone.
Chen jokes that her words just now were even more savage than the board meeting. But she just calmly replies that the board meeting was war and this was only cleanup.
Honestly, her being this clean and ruthless with her rejections is such a vibe.
She explains that if you do not sweep cleanly, people will keep thinking they have a shot.
Looking at him, she says he never had a chance because she chose Ah Chen instead.
Ah Chen's eyes soften for a brief second as he quietly tells her he knows. Yet he cannot stop himself from grinning. But on the drive home, she suddenly frowns. Chen immediately notices and asks if she is okay as she clutches her stomach.
She says she's just feeling a bit sick from eating way too much sweet stuff. Our guy gets instantly worried, pointing out they did not really eat anything sweet today. She glares playfully and says it was not the porridge, it is him being too sweet.
Talk about an unexpected attack. That smooth line catches him totally off guard, making his heart skip.
He just laughs, teasingly asking when she learned to flirt like an absolute pro.
Closing her eyes, she jokes that she practiced it herself when she was bored in England.
Instead of teasing back, Chen gently reaches over and starts massaging her stomach.
He keeps his hands incredibly soft, immediately lessening the pressure when she whispers to go gentler.
He asks when her stomach issues will actually heal, but she avoids the question.
She only mentions it is way better than last year, when even eating bread made her sick. Being able to finish a whole bowl of porridge now is already a huge step forward. Honestly, this is so heartbreaking to hear. Chen feels a sharp pang of deep regret. She was completely alone in England, running a company just to pave his way back.
All while silently battling severe anorexia. He does not even dare to ask for more details.
He simply keeps massaging her, making his movements even gentler than before.
Under his warm touch, she slowly relaxes as her breathing turns soft and steady.
She whispers a gentle thank you, but he replies that this is just a husband's duty.
The corner of her mouth curves up, teasing him for being such a smooth talker. He smiles, saying he learned from the best. By evening, they are back at their apartment.
She heads to the bedroom to change clothes while he waits patiently in the living room.
Suddenly, his assistant Tang Q texts him with an update about next Wednesday's event in Shenzhen.
The venue is fully locked in and the lighting and sound are perfectly good to go.
Tang Q also mentions checking the venue report that Pei Yanran personally signed off on. She had marked absolutely everything in red ink, even verifying the exact slope of the seats. Realizing how deeply she cares, our guy just sends back a quick text telling his assistant to shut up. After the assistant instantly agrees, Chen puts his phone down and walks to the bedroom. The door is slightly left open, showing her back as she finishes changing. She is so incredibly thin, it hurts him to watch. But then, he spots something. Right on her lower back is a tiny scar, one he definitely does not remember seeing before.
She spins around and immediately catches him staring straight at her lower back.
Flustered, she quickly pulls her t-shirt down, quietly explaining the stage collapsed during their wedding. The male lead got scratched up by splinters while protecting him. Chen walks over, gently lifting up a corner of his t-shirt to find a fairly small scar. But it is totally jagged. The male lead flinches slightly.
Chen vows to never let him get hurt for his sake again, while the male lead just stares back at him.
His eyes welling up with tears as he touches Chen's face.
He pulls an old yellowed notebook out from the closet, its cover completely fading,
and hesitates. Still, he hands it over, saying Chen might want to read it. Chen opens it. The first entry is dated June 9th, 5 years ago, the day after he was forced onto a plane. It literally reads, "Where is Chen today? He should still be in the hospital."
Is he awake yet? Does he still remember me?
Turning the page to June 10th, the notebook says Chen got discharged and Tong Chu says he is resting. But he didn't ask about him. Did he really forget? Honestly, this is low-key heartbreaking.
Every single page has the exact same entry format, tracking Chen's daily whereabouts.
Wondering what Chen was doing and how he was holding up. Later, the notebook lists Chen's music achievements.
He notes Chen played Passing Dream at the Golden Hall and how he listened to it 3 times in London.
Berlin hosted Chen's solo recital, and the setlist included Moonlight.
Moonlight is his favorite. He notes Chen won gold in Paris.
The path he paved for Chen is finally completed, prompting him to flip to the end. The handwriting gets incredibly rushed and messy near the end, as if he was desperately trying to finish the last page, which was written just last month. There is only one simple line on that page. He finally played Passing Dream again. Right in front of him, Chen is finally back, feeling a massive lump in his throat. For 5 whole years, day and night, the male lead was constantly searching for him. Chen puts it down, asking if he wrote in it daily.
He nods, admitting it became a habit and, honestly, the only thing he could actually do.
Chen pulls him into a tight embrace, telling him to stop writing.
Promising to stay by his side forever now, Chen smiles as the male lead refuses to discard it. This journal guarded his feelings for 5 long years, so he has to keep it. Chen smiles, saying he wants to read every page. The male lead chuckles, saying he's read them all.
But then he adds that there is still 1 page left, leaving Chen completely stunned. Reaching into the inner cover, he pulls out a folded paper. He explains he has been writing this letter for 5 years, adding 1 paragraph each year.
Unable to finish the last part, Chen looks down to read the first note addressing him.
If forgetting him makes Chen happy, then he should forget.
He writes that he never wanted to cause Chen pain. The second paragraph starts,
telling Chen to come find him if he ever remembers, promising he will be waiting.
Waiting at the tourism company or the orphanage?
And standing in any spot where Chen might see him. The third section reads,
even if Chen ends up hating him. Hating me is better than forgetting me, because at least it means you still remember me.
The space for the final paragraph is completely empty. He whispers that he wanted to write, if you ever come back.
She admits she never dared to write down that she was staying because she didn't know if Chen would ever come back.
This is low-key heartbreaking, guys.
Seeing the hesitation in her eyes, Chen takes the pen and writes a single line right in the final blank space.
I am back, and I am never leaving you again. That is all it takes for her tears to finally spill over, not out of sadness, but pure, overwhelming relief. She is finally letting go of 5 years of constant anxiety, begging Chen never to erase those words. Chen promises he won't, saying if he ever erases a single word, he will compensate her for everything. But she replies that tears are priceless. That cost is way too high. He tells her never to let him erase it, and she wraps her arms tightly back around him. As night falls outside, the warm lights inside their room cast a beautiful, cozy glow over the two of them. Under the warm lights, her white hair looks just like soft moonlight resting on her shoulders. Watching her, Chen thinks to himself that whether her hair is white or black, it really does not matter. The scars, the hidden diaries, none of that changes how he feels. Even the unfinished letters are just beautiful, painful proof of how deeply she has been waiting for him all this time. And now he finally has the right to take all this painful proof of their past and safely turn them into sweet memories. But back in the living room, his phone suddenly buzzes.
It is a text from Tang Chu saying Mr. Zhang has officially finished liquidating Pei Yanran's bankrupt company.
But here is the thing. There is still an untraceable overseas account, and the recipient of that massive final transfer remains a total mystery. They could not trace it, but the transferred amount is exactly enough to fund and register a brand new company. Reading this message, Chen frowns slightly, just when you think the drama's over, right? Pei Jingxing clearly has a backup plan left. Noticing his tense face, Pei Yanran gently looks over. She asks what is wrong, and he warns her that Pei Jingxing might not be completely out of the game yet. He hands over the phone, and she quickly scans the text message. Her lips twitch into a smirk as she tells him to let him try, leaning her head onto his shoulder. Her voice is completely calm since she has him by her side now, but her fingers secretly grip his cuff incredibly tight. She refuses to let go. And as for Pei Jingxing's secret overseas transfer, 3 days later, Jiang Chen tracks it down, revealing the recipient is just a shell company.
But honestly, Pei Yanran is miles ahead. The day before the transfer was even scheduled to arrive? She already had her lawyers freeze the entire account. Pei Jingxing did not even get to pull his final weapon out. His weapon was confiscated before he could strike. Meanwhile, Xu Jinyun completely withdraws from their entire social circle.
Chen never wears those gifted cufflinks, but he does not throw them away either. When Pei Yanran spots that elegant velvet box, she calmly tells him to just keep them for his future use. She calls it his last bit of goodwill, prompting Chen to ask if she really does not mind his gift. She chuckles, reminding him that back then, they were actively competing for him. But now, there is absolutely no need to fight. He is officially her husband. Exactly. Why even fight? A month later, Tang Chu finally learns the absolute truth of everything that happened. He is completely mind-blown, realizing that all his steady promotions and raises over the last 5 years were just part of the young lady's secret plans. Chen cannot help but burst out laughing at his reaction. He finally knows who his real boss is. Half a year later, Pei Yanran goes in for a full health checkup.
Her health is looking way better than before, and the doctor says she just needs to keep this up.
She looks incredibly calm holding her medical report, but A-Chain still catches her quietly letting out a massive sigh of relief.
When Pei's mother finally arrives in Beijing, Pei Yanran goes to the airport to pick her up herself. 5 years ago, the mother tearfully sent her daughter away. 5 years later, she flies in and spots her waiting right at the exit.
Teary-eyed, she softly calls out her daughter's name.
Admitting she owes her way more than a simple apology, her mother reaches out, making Pei Yanran hesitate for 2 seconds.
Before she gently takes her hand. Later that evening, the happy couple sits together on the balcony. She holds that old notebook in her hands, and the line he wrote on the last page is still there. Flipping to that page, she reads his promise to stay and never leave her side again. Her finger pauses. Then she smiles.
She jokes that his handwriting is actually pretty ugly as a bamboo flute plays in the background.
It was just music he forgot to turn off, but seeing her hair turn black again? Absolute chef's kiss.
For the first time, Pei's mother invites him over for dinner, warmly referring to him as her own child.
She says he is basically family now, which completely catches Pei Yanran off guard.
But he quickly speaks up, telling her mother that
he is fully part of the family now, which takes him back to his proposal day.
He played her favorite song, Moonlight, with the exact same lights and flowers from 5 years ago.
But this time, he's the one proposing to her, and she walks up on stage to hand him flowers. Instead of taking them, he drops to one knee, thanking her for protecting him.
He promises that from now on, he will protect his beloved Yanran.
As he asks her to marry him, her eyes fill with tears as she nods again and again.
Then she leans down and kisses him, sealing their love.